Have you ever noticed that the strongest person in the room is usually the one saying the least? While everyone else is busy explaining themselves, defending themselves, and trying to prove their worth, the truly powerful individual remains calm, observant, and silent. Welcome back to Stoic Ascension. If you're ready to master your emotions, build unshakable confidence, and unlock timeless Stoic wisdom, make sure you subscribe to Stoic Ascension, leave a comment below, and stay with me until the end because one lesson in this video could completely change how you move through life. Let's begin. Imagine two men standing in a crowded marketplace. The first talks constantly. He tells everyone his plans. He argues over small matters. He tries to convince people he's important. The second says very little. He listens carefully. He observes everything. He speaks only when necessary. Years later, the first man is still explaining himself. The second man has become a leader. Why? Because silence creates power. The Stoics understood something that modern society often forgets: not every thought deserves to be spoken, and not every battle deserves your words. Most people lose energy through unnecessary talking. They reveal their weaknesses. They expose their plans. They react emotionally. They give away their power. But the Stoic learns to guard his words like treasure. And that changes everything. The first lesson is this: silence gives you control over your emotions. When someone insults you, what is your first instinct? To respond. To defend yourself. To prove them wrong. But that reaction places your emotions in their hands. The Stoics believe that true freedom comes from mastering your responses. A young student once studied under a wise philosopher. One day another student mocked him in front of everyone. The young man felt anger rising inside him. His fists tightened. His heart raced. But he remembered his teacher's advice. Not every attack deserves a response. So he stayed silent. Days later, the people who witnessed the incident began respecting him. Why? Because they realized something. Anyone can react. Very few can remain calm. The insult disappeared. But his self-control remained. That's the power of silence. When you refuse to react immediately, you remain in control. And control is strength. The second lesson is: stop announcing your plans. Many people love talking about what they're going to do. They talk about starting a business. They talk about getting fit. They talk about becoming successful. They talk and talk and talk. But they rarely act. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that action matters more than words. Imagine a farmer. Every day he tells everyone he plans to grow the largest harvest in the region. He discusses seeds. He discusses weather. He discusses techniques. But he never plants anything. Another farmer says nothing. He wakes up early. He works the soil. He waters the crops. Months later, one has stories. The other has results. The world rewards action, not announcements. The more you speak about your plans, the less energy you often have to execute them. Let your success make the announcement. Let your achievements do the talking. The third lesson is: listen more than you speak. Most people listen only long enough to prepare their next response. They aren't learning. They're waiting. But Stoics understood that wisdom comes through observation. A merchant once traveled across many lands. Whenever he entered a new city, he asked questions. He listened carefully. He studied people's habits. He learned from everyone. Another merchant entered cities boasting about his own knowledge. Guess which one became wealthy? The listener. Because listening reveals opportunities that talking hides. When you speak, you only repeat what you already know. When you listen, you discover something new. The quiet person often sees things that others miss. And those observations become advantages. Before we continue, take a moment to subscribe to Stoic Ascension. If you're finding value in these lessons, write "Silence is strength" in the comments below. Your journey toward mastery begins with small decisions practiced daily. Now let's continue. Another reason to keep your mouth shut is because not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. This may sound harsh, but it is true. Many people are not rooting for your success. Some are curious. Some are jealous. Some are looking for weaknesses. A traveler once carried a precious map leading to hidden treasure. Every person he met asked about it. But he kept it hidden. Because he understood that revealing valuable information to the wrong people could cost him everything. Your goals are similar. Your dreams are valuable. Your vision is valuable. Protect it. Share it carefully. Not every person deserves front-row access to your future. Silence protects what matters most. The fifth lesson. Silence makes your words more powerful. Think about someone who talks non-stop. Eventually, people stop paying attention. Now think about someone who rarely speaks. The moment they open their mouth, everyone listens. Why? Because scarcity creates value. A king once had 2 advisors. One offered advice every hour. The other spoke only when necessary. When a crisis emerged, whose words carried more weight? The quiet advisor. His silence gave authority to his speech. The same principle applies to your life. If every thought becomes a sentence, your words lose impact. Speak less. Mean more. Let every word have purpose. Another Stoic truth is this. Silence protects you from unnecessary conflict. Many arguments begin because someone felt the need to have the last word. But what if you simply walked away? What if you allowed another person to be wrong? What if peace mattered more than victory? A sailor once encountered a violent storm. Instead of fighting every wave, he adjusted his sails. He understood that resistance wasn't always the answer. Likewise, many verbal battles are unwinnable. No matter what you say, the other person won't change their mind. So why waste your energy? Silence is often the smartest response. Not because you're weak. Because you're wise. The Stoics also taught. Observe before acting. The silent person gathers information. The noisy person reveals information. Which position would you rather be in? A hunter enters a forest. He doesn't shout. He doesn't make noise. He studies tracks. He notices movement. He pays attention. Because observation increases accuracy. Life works the same way. When you enter a room, observe. When you enter a meeting, observe. When you meet new people, observe. Silence allows you to see reality clearly. And clear vision leads to better decisions. One of the greatest forms of power is emotional discipline. Most people become prisoners of their feelings. They get angry. They speak. They regret it. They become frustrated. They speak. They regret it. The cycle continues. A blacksmith once forged a magnificent sword. He explained that the secret wasn't force. It was patience. Heat. Weight. Shape. Weight. Cool. Weight. Great things required restraint. Your character is forged the same way. When emotions rise, silence gives you time. Time creates wisdom. Wisdom creates better choices. Another lesson. You don't need to defend yourself to everyone. This is one of the hardest truths to accept. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will like you. Not everyone will approve of your choices. And that's okay. A lion doesn't stop hunting to answer the opinions of sheep. Likewise, your mission should be more important than public approval. People will misunderstand you. Let them. People will criticize you. Let them. People will create stories about you. Let them. Your responsibility is not controlling their opinions. Your responsibility is controlling your actions. The Stoics understood this deeply. And that understanding gave them peace. Here's another powerful story. There was a craftsman who spent years mastering his trade. While others bragged about their skills, he remained quiet. People underestimated him. They doubted him. They ignored him. Then one day they saw his work. It was extraordinary. Suddenly everyone wanted to know his secret. He smiled and continued working. His results spoke louder than any speech ever could. This is the Stoic way. Build quietly. Improve quietly. Grow quietly. Win quietly. Success becomes undeniable when it arrives. Many people think silence means weakness. The opposite is true. Weakness often demands attention. Strength doesn't. A mountain does not announce its height. The ocean does not advertise its depth. The sun does not explain its importance. Yet all are powerful. The strongest individuals often possess a quiet confidence. They don't need constant validation. They don't need approval. They don't need applause. Their worth comes from within. And because of that, they can remain silent while others desperately seek attention. Consider this question. How much trouble in your life came from words you shouldn't have spoken? Now ask yourself. How much trouble came from staying silent? The answer is revealing. Many regrets begin with a sentence spoken too quickly. Very few begin with patience. The Stoics understood that words, once released, cannot be recalled. Like arrows, they travel forward. You cannot undo them. You cannot erase them. Therefore choose them carefully. Before we reach the final lesson, subscribe to Stoic Ascension if you're committed to becoming mentally stronger every day. Share your thoughts in the comments. What is one situation where staying silent helped you? Your story may inspire someone else on their journey. Now let's discuss the most powerful lesson of all. Silence helps you hear yourself. Modern life is filled with noise. Notifications. Arguments. Opinions. Entertainment. Distractions. Everyone is talking. Few are thinking. The Stoics valued solitude because silence reveals truth. A young man spent years chasing the approval of others. Every decision was influenced by outside voices. One day he decided to spend time alone. No distractions. No opinions. Just reflection. For the first time, he heard his own thoughts clearly. He realized he had been living according to other people's expectations. That moment changed his life. Silence became his teacher. And it can become yours as well. When the noise fades, clarity appears. When distractions disappear, purpose emerges. When silence grows, wisdom follows. Remember this. You do not have to respond to every insult. You do not have to reveal every plan. You do not have to win every argument. You do not have to explain every decision. Sometimes the most powerful move is saying nothing at all. Because silence is not emptiness. Silence is discipline. Silence is patience. Silence is confidence. Silence is wisdom. And silence is power. The next time someone provokes you, pause. The next time you're tempted to announce your plans, pause. The next time you're desperate to prove yourself, pause. Ask yourself. Will speaking improve this situation? If the answer is no, choose silence. That simple habit can transform your life. But there is another level of silence that very few people ever reach. It is the silence of inner peace. Many people can keep their mouths shut while their minds are screaming. Outwardly they appear calm. Inside they are fighting battles with anger, resentment, and anxiety. The Stoics aimed for something deeper. They sought silence not only in speech but also in thought. Imagine a pond after a storm. The water is muddy. The surface is chaotic. You cannot see what lies beneath. But when the wind stops and the water becomes still, everything becomes clear. Your mind works the same way. When emotions constantly stir your thoughts, your judgment becomes clouded. When you cultivate inner silence, clarity emerges. You begin seeing situations as they truly are instead of how your emotions make them appear. This is why Marcus Aurelius spent so much time reflecting. He understood that a calm mind is one of the greatest advantages a person can possess. While others react impulsively, the calm mind sees options. While others panic, the calm mind finds solutions. While others complain, the calm mind takes action. And that difference changes everything. Think about a man walking through a forest. Every sound frightens him. Every shadow worries him. Every movement makes him nervous. His fear creates imaginary enemies. Now imagine another man walking through the same forest. He remains calm. He observes carefully. He understands that not every sound is a threat. Not every shadow is danger. The forest hasn't changed. The mind has. And because the mind has changed, reality feels different. This is the gift of inner silence. The world may remain chaotic. But your response becomes steady. One of the greatest mistakes people make is oversharing. They tell everyone about their struggles. Everyone about their goals. Everyone about their personal life. Then they wonder why they feel drained. Every time you reveal something important, you give away a piece of your energy. This doesn't mean becoming secretive or isolated. It means becoming selective. A wise gardener doesn't scatter seeds everywhere. He plants them where they can grow. Likewise, share your thoughts with people who have earned your trust. Share your dreams with people who support your growth. Share your struggles with people who genuinely care. Not everyone deserves access to your private world. The Stoics understood the value of boundaries. And silence is one of the strongest boundaries you can create. There is a story about a young warrior who wanted to prove himself. Every chance he got, he spoke about how brave he was. How strong he was. How skilled he was. An old master listened patiently. One day the master handed him a cup filled to the very top with water. "Carry this across the village," he said. "If you spill a drop, you fail." The young warrior became completely focused. He stopped talking. He stopped boasting. He stopped seeking attention. His entire mind centered on the task. When he returned successfully, the master smiled. "Notice something?" he asked. The young warrior nodded. "For the first time," he said, "I wasn't thinking about impressing anyone." The master replied, "And for the first time, you were truly strong." Real strength doesn't need an audience. Real strength needs discipline. The world rewards people who can remain composed under pressure. Anyone can stay calm when life is easy. The real test comes during hardship. When criticism arrives. When setbacks happen. When plans fail. When people disappoint you. That is when silence becomes a weapon. A businessman once lost everything in a financial collapse. His friends expected panic. His competitors expected despair. Instead, he remained calm. He assessed the situation. He made a plan. He started again. Years later he became more successful than before. Someone asked him how he managed it. He answered, "Panic never solved a single problem." What a powerful lesson. When difficulties arrive, emotions demand immediate action. Wisdom demands reflection. Silence creates that reflection. Another Stoic principle is understanding that attention is valuable. Every day people compete for your attention. Social media. News. Drama. Arguments. Gossip. Endless distractions. Most people give away their attention freely. As a result, they become mentally exhausted. Imagine carrying a bucket with tiny holes in it. No matter how much water you pour in, it keeps leaking out. That is what happens when you constantly engage in unnecessary conversations and distractions. Your energy leaks away. Your focus disappears. Your potential remains unrealized. The Stoic protects attention the same way a king protects treasure. Because where attention goes, life follows. Guard it carefully. There was once a sculptor creating a magnificent statue. Visitors constantly interrupted him. They offered opinions, suggestions, criticism, advice. The sculptor listened politely but continued his work. Month after month he remained focused. Finally, the masterpiece was completed. People praised him for his vision. One visitor asked how he ignored so many distractions. The sculptor answered, "Because the statue existed in my mind long before it existed in stone." Think about that. Many people abandon their goals because they listen to too many voices. The Stoic learns to trust his principles. He listens selectively. He thinks independently. And he moves forward despite the noise. Silence also teaches patience. Modern society wants everything immediately. Instant results. Instant success. Instant recognition. But nature doesn't work that way. A tree takes years to grow. A river shapes stone over time. A diamond forms under pressure and patience. Greatness follows the same pattern. A young musician practiced every day for years. Nobody noticed. Nobody applauded. Nobody cared. But he continued. One day his skill became undeniable. People called him talented. They saw the performance. They didn't see the years of quiet preparation. The lesson is simple. Success is often built in silence. Long before the world notices. Long before recognition arrives. Long before applause begins. Keep working. Keep growing. Keep improving. Quietly. Perhaps the most difficult silence is remaining silent when you know you're right. Someone misunderstands you. Someone accuses you unfairly. Someone spreads false information. Every instinct wants to defend yourself. Sometimes you should. But not always. The Stoics taught that your character matters more than your reputation. Reputation lives in the minds of others. Character lives within you. A man once spent years defending himself against every criticism. Eventually he realized something. The people determined to misunderstand him never changed their minds. The people who truly knew him never needed explanations. That realization set him free. Not every accusation deserves your energy. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every critic deserves your response. Sometimes silence is the strongest answer. As you continue your journey, remember this. Silence is not about becoming passive. Silence is not about becoming fearful. Silence is not about avoiding life. Silence is about choosing your words carefully. Choosing your battles wisely. Choosing your responses intentionally. The Stoic does not remain silent because he has nothing to say. He remains silent because he understands the value of timing. A bow held too long loses power. An arrow released too early misses the target. Wisdom knows when to wait. Wisdom knows when to speak. And wisdom knows when silence is enough. If you've made it this far, you're already different from most people. You're choosing growth over distraction. Discipline over impulse. Wisdom over noise. Subscribe to Stoic Ascension for more powerful Stoic teachings that can transform your life. Leave a comment below with the words, "My silence is my strength." And remember, the loudest person in the room rarely commands the most respect. The person who masters silence, masters himself. And the person who masters himself can master almost anything. Until next time, stay focused, stay disciplined, and continue your ascent toward greatness.